Hey, what's up guys and welcome back, and today I'm gonna be giving you something new for you guys to enjoy. What if Naruto was a prodigy and a super genius? And I'm talking about godly level intellect, guys. So yes, expect some incredible and amazing stuff. And in this experience, will be alive. However, his life won't be normal. Yes, it will be a bit chaotic. So just sit back, relax, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. All the links will be down in the description. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. And turn on the bell notification to stay posted. And yeah, if you want your what if to be done, go ahead and check out Anime Symbol, guys. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. The red light district of Konoha was not really a safe place, especially at night. There were kidnappers, rapists, robbers, and many more. They prey on the fools that choose to roam this section of the village in the night, which was a terrible idea. There was an establishment known as a Blooming Soccer. It was a brothel that stayed open from 8 in the morning to 5 the next morning. It was very popular and mostly visited, so much so that the matron of the brothel opened a bar in the section as well, right in the main lobby. An advertisement for a bartender. You don't even have to have any skill level because the individual would be trained. However, no one was hired, mainly because the ladies of the brothel, they were too seductive. And it was becoming a real problem because anyone that was hired for the position, male or female, they would end up chasing the girls. The bar idea was almost shut down until a 10-year-old boy with mint green hair and red fiery eyes approached the matron. He needed a stable, secure job so that he could take care of himself, paying rent and buying food for himself. And he was tired of the meaningless labor that always come and go. Against her better judgment, the matron implored the child. She pitied him, and she was also at the same time intrigued by the sense of mystery that seemed to surround him, about his past and about his identity as well. She sent him out with some money to attend a class from the Akamichis. It was a basic bartender class. It took about a week. And the next week he was there at the Blooming Soccer working. His name was Kyohi. He was very respectful to everyone that was there, even the sex workers. He stayed professional no matter what. And the girls were always sauntering around him, pinching his cheeks and cooing over him to how cute he was. He was in a white button-down and black slacks with polished black shoes as well. He was a true oddity to them. He seemed to not want to socialize, or maybe he had a slight fear of the woman, borderline paranoia. And not to mention, he did not share anything about himself. But it was clear for them all to see. From the age of 12 upwards, he seemed to be afraid of the opposite gender from that age starting up. The matron asked him why would he apply for a job in a brothel with about 40 women all around it many times. His simple answer was, the pay is good. He had said that while he was pouring a drink, as there was a woman waiting for her drink. He did not look at her. However, his eyes were filled with a deep-seated hatred. I really need this job, he had said afterwards. She shrugged it off and let him continue his work, hoping that one day he might overcome this fear of women. Time skip. 3 years later, Kyohei was cleaning a mug with a blue rag. I think you had enough for tonight, sir, he said. The man he was talking to, his eyes were barely open, as he was in a put-together suit. He slammed his fist down on the counter, trying to startle the boy, it seems. However, the boy simply raised an eyebrow before he returned to cleaning back the glass and the mugs. He was unaffected by his intimidation tactic. I don't care, he said, slurring his words. Give me another cup of beer, he said. Kyohei glanced towards him from the corner of his eye as he poured 3 drinks. For the 3 newcomers that came to the bar, they were usual customers, and he had those orders memorized. They called out their thanks to him. As he tilted his gaze towards the drunk that was still there, he was a recently unemployed businessman. You've taken above the legal limit, sir. Any more, and your liver just might give up, Kyohei said to him. Kyohei had been feeding him tea country beer, and that was arguably the strongest beer that they had around the elemental nation. He burped rather loudly, I said, as he swayed in his seat, his eyes trying to focus on the boy in front of him. Now give me a goddamn drink, he said. Let me drown. I don't goddamn care. He tried to swipe one of the bottles, but Kyohei slapped his hand away. Give me a drink now, you brat, he yelled. Several people started to turn their gaze as Kyohei noticed that. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave, he said. The man stumbled up off his seat. He almost fell as he raised his fist, shaking it in front of Kyohei's face. If you don't give me a drink right now, I'm gonna break my foot right in your... He belched, interrupting his own self. Kyohei stood there as the man was pointing his finger at him. Kyohei was rather calm despite the large man looming over him, trying to be such a very intimidating figure, but Kyohei did not even budge in the slightest. Sir, don't point at me, Kyohei said. His voice was calm and low, and there was some emotion in his tone as well. Throughout all of this, Kyohei's fingers were tapping on the bar until they finally stopped. Those that were close enough felt goosebumps all over their body. On the other side of the room, right at the staircase that led up to the workers' rooms, the matron murmured a low curse under her breath as she sipped her wine. Kyohei really did not like to be pointed at. The drunken man snorted though. And what are you gonna do about it? He jabbed the finger towards Kyohei's face. However, the finger did not reach. Kyohei's hand came up so fast that many missed it, as his hand snapped the man's finger as he was still holding onto it, adding more pressure. The man screamed out in pain. Wait, he said. Kyohei threw his hand aside, away from him. The crying man quickly stumbled away. Get lost, Kyohei said. The man ran away, forgetting his briefcase in the process. As he left the bar, Kyohei then proceeded to release a breath. As he turned his back, he knew that all the people were looking at him from his brief display of strength. As he smoothed down his white button-down, he was also wearing suspenders that crossed at the back. The matron and the girls said that it made him look incredibly adorable. As he checked his formal black pants and his white gloves that he was wearing, he glanced towards one of the bottles as he saw the reflection of a man was coming up towards the counter. Sick, the man grunted out as he rubbed his nose. Kyohei nodded as he swept up a few Ryu notes on the counter left by past patrons. He also noticed that his tip jar was a bit higher. As everything returned back to normal, people going on about their business, women flirting with men, several men trying to flirt with the girls. He did his part perfectly, serving up the drinks, ensuring that no one died from alcohol poisoning, as he did not serve them too much if they were going over. He also lent an ear to those that just needed to talk, as he hummed and nodded, listening to them. Hours rolled by as several people went upstairs. He was truly grateful to the matron that the walls were insulated so he could not hear anything. As he was currently cleaning a steak saucer, a woman with shaggy hair was rambling to him. "I loved him," she said, as she gripped the beer in her hands. "I sacrificed my whole life for him, and what do I get? I taught him sleeping with my own mother. Can you believe that?" As he told her what her boyfriend did was not right. His burning red eyes were fixated on hers as the woman started to loosen up more and more from the eye contact. Then he has the balls to tell me that he loves her, and she's not even ashamed. Can you believe it? You want to know what I did? He could hardly have a guess of what she did, as he simply shrugged to let her unload her sadness. "I threw all of his clothing out and burned them. I then kicked the both of them out before they could get fully dressed. I then proceeded to burn all of his nasty porn novels. Tomorrow I'm going to cut him from my bank account." Kyohi nodded as he turned, serving a man a cup of hot water who was wearing a straw hat. The man dropped a black sheet katana on the counter as his hand curled around the cup of water. The man's dull black eyes looked towards Kyohi as he saw the red eyes flicker towards his blade. He shook his head as he pulled it back towards him. He leaned it next to his foot. "I cannot part with my blade," he said. "Then please do not draw or use it inside here, sir," Kyohi said politely. "Of course," the man said. Kyohi then turned his gaze back towards the Inusaka woman to listen what she was saying. An hour later, she was peacefully sleeping and snoring on the counter, twitching every once in a while. Kyohi went around as he helped her to her feet. He then proceeded to place her down on the couch as he placed a blanket over her. He then returned back to behind the bar, where the swordsman was sipping his third cup of hot water. As Kyohi was cleaning up the bar, his cautious red eyes glanced back over towards the man. He was wearing an open kimono shirt. It was black, with strange markings on it, pattern of red. He was wearing combat pants underneath, along with wooden sandals, but Kyohi could not see that. From what he could see from the straw hat, the man had a sharp nose and a smooth chin. The symbol for Iron Country was slashed off on his backhand. It was tattooed there, but there was now an X going through it. The man noticed the look that Kyohi had gave him. His shoulders shook with laughter. "Why are you so cautious, child?" he said. Kyohi was quiet for a long while until he placed down the new mug that he was cleaning. "My job is to be cautious, sir." The man chuckled. "I suppose you're right about that," he said, his gaze not looking at Kyohi. "I have to wonder though, why would a child of your upbringing stoop so low as to work for prostitutes?" Kyohi was calm despite the man just mentioning his upbringing. "To pay the bills," he added, as he placed the mug where it was supposed to be. "Besides, it's not stooping low when I'm already scum," Kyohi said. "Why would scum learn a fighting style?" "Self-defense," Kyohi said. His eyes pulsed slightly as his expression turned into one of annoyance. "You tried to cast a genjutsu on me." "Not a genjutsu, but an illusion," the man said as he proceeded to sip his hot water. He then spoke. "Someone like you with such intellect should be a jonin already. I'm not a genius." "Then what do I call you then?" the man said, with a warm laugh. "With your job, how did you find the time to train your body and your chakra?" he asked. There is always time, Kyo, he said. Well, there is, but not with your schedule. And the man leaned forward as he motioned for Kyohi to come closer, but Kyohi did not move. Not especially when you're on the run, he said. Kyohi's eyes hardened at that. His eyes were bright red, however they turned dark crimson. On the run for 4 years, from Konoha Ninja, and all this time you've been thriving, right under their noses. As Kyohi cracked his fingers, it did take me a long while to find you. But I'll admit it myself. You're one hell of a crafty bastard, you know that. The man was talking, his voice was jovial. A year, away from your worried parents, having to survive on the street like a rat. Wait, no, a mole, hiding and nibbling on any cracker that you were able to find. Then you enlist to work here, and life become a little bit better. As he pushed his empty cup towards Kyohi. Tell me, Naruto, he said, finally revealing the boy's true name. Why did you do it? Why did you run away, he asked. The feeling became a great tenseness in the area. The man noticed that. This place does not need to be destroyed, child. If you give me a good reason for why you ran away, then no one has to get hurt, he said. So they hired another tracker, Naruto thought in his mind. As he looked over the ex-samurai, on the outside his face was as calm as ever. Naruto placed both of his hands on the counter, his gaze looking up towards the man because the man was taller than him. Does anyone know that you're here? The man gripped the handle of his katana. The weapon was still sheathed though. I work alone. Anyone follow you? Lost them in the forest of death, he said, as Naruto slowly took off the gloves and placed them to the side. You don't want to fight me, child, the ex-samurai spoke up. Well, said Naruto as he reached for something. It was a pair of goggles. He proceeded to put them on. They were dark. I'm not going back, he said. His crimson eyes glistened from the inside. He went on high alert when he noticed that Naruto's eye, the left one, was closed. As he saw the other one showing a hexagon, a bright purple one. It projected an inch away from the eye, as he realized that it was not in it, but right above it. AI is fully operational. A voice echoed in Naruto's ear. The man drew his blade as he moved forward. Chakra. Destabilizer, said Naruto. Dark purple. Lightning crawled upon Naruto's body as he said that. It was like a centipede. It then exploded in a wide burst. It wasn't violent. It surrounded the entire place. As the ex-samurai brought his katana down towards Naruto's neck, the flat side of the blade that is. However, his connection to his chakra immediately got cut off. His whole body fell limp as Naruto bent under the sword and grabbed him by the throat. With his left eye still closed and the hexagon projection spinning in the hologramic goggles, he scanned the man. All of the man's chakra was shut down and he was unable to move his body. As Naruto pulled him over the counter and dragged him outside, he threw him down beside the trash can with the rest of the waste. The man was choking for air. He was unable to muster the strength that would even make his finger twitch. As Naruto stood over him, his straw hat had blown away from Naruto, destabilizing chakra electricity. As Naruto grabbed the hilt of the man's katana and slowly unsheathing it with practiced ease. You probably thought of yourself as cool to be coming in dressed like that, Naruto said as he dropped the sheath of the blade. As he examined it, it was nothing but a boring normal blade. Thought you could intimidate me into giving up, Naruto said, as he shook his head in dismay. The hexagon was still projecting. As he glanced down towards the man. Your biggest mistake was underestimating me, and not knowing that I've been put through 1,000 times worse in terms of fear and terror. As a final jab on the man, Naruto whispered, I'll keep the blade. As he raised, said Katana, No, don't slice. As his head rolled off to the ground, the last thing he saw was Naruto tearing his kimono and wiping off the blood of the blade. Before everything went dark, Naruto picked up the sheet. The weapon clicked as it entered. Run a scan through Konoha security cameras and get everything you can on this guy, Naruto said to his supercomputer as he pulled out a large trash bag from his pocket. As he started to stuff the man's body inside, the girls did not like to come around here, and he was the one that burned the things in the dumpster, so he was not worried about them seeing this. As he placed it inside dumpster, 5 seconds later, the AI returned back. Done. Did he really have no tail? Yes, sir. It was a female voice. Report. His name is... I don't care about his name, said Naruto, as he walked back into the bar and stashed the weapon under the counter. Of course, sir. His bingo book entry said he hated to work with teams. He was amongst the 10 best trackers in Iron Country before he defected after a failed assassination on the current leader of Iron Country, Mifune. The feminine voice buzzed in his ear as he leaned on the counter, waiting for new customers. As he nodded for the AI to go on, he's especially adept in avoiding capture by conventional and mostly unconventional means. That's good, Naruto murmured. Inquiry. Do you wish for me to catalog his fighting style, sir? Sure, said Naruto. Another 5 seconds later, when AI was finished, Naruto asked, How many fighting styles do we have now? Report. 27, sir. Huh? How come, said Naruto. Report. From observations listed in the training ground and listed in the Namikaze library. Keep up the good work and give me a full sweep of the building. Make sure no real threat is near. Yes, sir. A couple came downstairs as Naruto took off his computer goggles as he stored them in his back pocket. The couple, a beautiful blonde-haired woman and a shy, black-haired man, sat down near the bar. The man looked winded, and from the perspiration on his forehead, it seems it was a rather good night for him. The woman's gaze fell on him as Naruto proceeded to turn his gaze, thinking on how he can better improve his supercomputer. AI, short for Artificial Intelligence, was a supercomputer that Naruto designed since the very moment he became interested in electrical engineer and machines. When he was 5 years old, his father had did a test on him to find out about his knowledge capacity because he saw several signs. It turns out that Naruto had a genius level intellect. His father was never there. He was always on diplomatic missions or at the office doing all sorts of things. All he had to do was entrust Naruto with a bit of money, his weekly allowance, and leave him in the care of his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. The supercomputer was created by him to make calculated and proper solutions, fast, incredibly so, to those things that he could not solve, and also to record everything that was relevant, such as combat skills of all type of ninjas, jutsus of all kinds, formulas, chemical compounds, and many, many more things. The computer was keyed into his goggles, and it would only work for him. Naruto was still very much smarter than the computer, something that the self-conscious computer knew. However, AI was continuously growing and ever evolving to cater to Naruto for whatever he asked. He tapped his finger as he stared off into space. This is the 4th attempt now to try and capture me, and that was in the span time of a month. This month. As Naruto nodded towards the couple as the man left, the woman made her way back upstairs. He did not keep his eyes on her as she gazed towards him. Certain memories started to flash up into his head just from her gaze alone. The memories had nothing to do with her. As Naruto tried to recall where he slipped up, he went back a few weeks in his mind, and then a few months, and further and further and further back. He did not really go out when the sun was up. It was always night, and he did not bump into any leaf ninjas. The library and the grocery store was always open. They closed an hour before midnight. And also the training fields were deserted by 9. And with his hair dyed green and his eyes red, he blended in a lot with the red light district crowd. After a while he spoke. "AI," he said. "Boss?" She responded. Naruto noticed that she did not say report, meaning that she was outgrowing her model, and he would have to retouch her circuit when he got the chance. She had been using that way of addressing him for some time now, and he was not sure how to feel about it. She was a month overdue to have her memory banks expanded, for him to program a few new functions in. "I want you to run something by me first," he said. "Okay," she said almost hesitantly, wondering where her genius master could be going with this. "What are the chances of me leaving this village?" The supercomputer buzzed in his pocket as she answered in his ear. "You have a 41% chance of succeeding." "Alive?" Naruto asked. 29%. "With all my limbs?" 20%, she said. He felt the doom welled up in his stomach. Ever since he fled the Namikaze mansion 4 years ago, security at the gate had been drastically increased. There was no way that he could leave at the physical state that he was currently in, and the ninjas, they knew this all too well, which is why only a few squads had left to search for him, because they knew that he was still most likely within the village grounds. The ninjas did not seem like they would be going anywhere anytime soon, until he was caught and brought back to his parents. Naruto sat down as he wished he could have a drink to clear his mind. It wasn't that he was too young, it was just, if a tracker came in to capture him, in the state that he was in, he might get captured. The time to relax was when his problems were all behind him, or if he was dead. "How much longer until I'm able to leave this village? With all my parts," he added. "Once combat boots and gloves have been completed, chances will go up by 60%. 80%, huh?" Naruto thought to himself. That's a really good chance. Naruto was not at the state where he could create long-lasting clones. His Uzumaki blessing was still growing, and he did not have the Kyuubi, unlike Kushina. What the samurai had said was true. It was hard to find time away from his job to train his body and upgrade AI. Then there was the weapons that he was trying to create in the confines of his apartment. They were to balance out the difference between his body and an adult Jonin when the time came. His salary in the brothel helped fund these projects, but they could only buy third-hand and low-quality parts from shady, unreliable dealers, as he could not purchase any high-quality parts from well-known places that would cost too much attention. So far, the search for another bartender has ended. No one could handle a bar, thus make his demand prefer. He put on his white gloves, looked through as many security cameras within the village, and find out how these trackers were able to find me after 4 long years. Already on it, sir. Thank you, AI. You're welcome, boss. If there was one thing that he would never, ever do, it was return back home. He wanted to get away from Konoha as far as possible, to perhaps live without a name on some unknown island, far away from his mother. At that very moment, at Naruto's bedroom in the Namikaze Manor, Kushina Uzumaki loved Naruto more than anything in this world, more than she would ever love her own husband or anything else, even if he was not her biological son, and her only contribution to help in bringing him to this world was taking care of his surrogate mother. She loved him more than anything. She would do whatever it takes, venture to the deepest parts of hell, and return back to have her son. As she knelt down beside his well, made up bed, she took in the scent even though it has been 4 years. It calmed her. Yes, it calmed her. As it relaxed her great beating heart. Snaddy had ruled out the option of her bearing a child when she was just a tuning, and her relationship with Minato was getting stronger. Snaddy had told her that her womb was just too volatile because of the demonic chakra that has been festering inside of her body for years now. If she was ever to be impregnated with a child, 3 things might happen. The child would die after only 6 months. Second, the child might survive but would be cursed with chakra poisoning, a great, powerful disease that will prevent chakra from flowing within the child and result in painful heart attacks, and then a dreadful death. The last option, the child would be born healthy, but his or her brain would be negatively affected by the Kyuubi's chakra. And not to mention the risk of giving birth to a child. The seal would be tremendously weakened, and the fox might try to escape. They wanted a child so badly, Kushina more so than her husband. Her best friend, Mikoto Uchiha, proposed that she would bear a child for her. Minato provided the seed, and after 2 tries, Mikoto was pregnant. In Konoha Hospital, Fukaku was not pleased that his wife had made such a drastic decision without his consent or his counsel. However, she could not care less. 9.5 months later, Naruto was born with bright, golden hair and wonderful bright red eyes that shine with a hint of curiosity and intellect the moment he was born. After the delivery, Mikoto was made to rest, but Kushina was too eager to see the child. She had been with her old friend through the pregnancy and the delivery. Minato was too swamped though, as he was always busy with Hokage work. As soon as Kushina's gaze fell on the boy, she instantly became in love. She spent several long hours simply looking at him and stroking his cheek. She vowed that nothing was ever going to make her stop loving him. Evidence by her naming him Naruto Uzumaki, giving him her clan name. When Minato found out, he did not give it much thought, saying that enemies would try to attack him through his son, and she did the right thing. However, roughly 4 months after his 9th birthday, Naruto had ran away, and Kushina's heart had shattered. For 4 straight years, she along with the envoy and dozen of ninja, they searched all over, because she knew that he was still here. He was still within the village. 3 years within the search, she cut into her personal bank account, as she hired the best trackers from outside of the village to find him. 14 of them in total. She placed tracking seals on every single one of them to make sure that they weren't double-crossing her, or if they found valuable information on her boy. 11 of them were confirmed dead. About 10 minutes ago though, a tracking beacon had blinked off, not before she was able to sense the presence of her son chakra through the seal. For a fraction of a second, there was no doubt that the missing samurai was dead by her son's hands, but she did not give one damn about him. Hiring outside help was something that her husband did not like. However, she did not care, as they get results. 11 murdered, but yes, well, this made 12, but they brought back results. She only needed a few more pawns to be killed off before she can zero in on Naruto's position. Next time she found the perfect tracker, a missing nin that would accept the job, she would have him accompanied by a Konoha ninja. Someone that Naruto knew very well, someone smart, someone skilled. Kakashi. Naruto might kill the masked ninja, but Kushina would craft a tracking seal that would alert her of his presence. Upon his death, she trained Naruto herself And if the boy put in any effort, the copy ninja will die. There was no doubt about that. She knew how great her son was. External trackers were not that powerful, but the masked ninja, it will be up to him to try and restrain her boy. Of course, Naruto would put up a fight and he would win. Kakashi's death, well, that will give her enough time to find out where he is. It would be a worthy death for a worthy sake of her finding her son. Kushina laughed, a crazy laugh, taking very deep and heavy breaths. As she leaned her head towards his sheet, she took a big whiff before she straightened it out. Don't be scared, Naruto, she said, as her gaze fixated on the photo of him with a big happy smile on his face, on the table, with Kushina there, giving him a very big wet kiss right on his cheek. Mommy is coming to get you, she said. A weird look in her eyes, and a big smile on her face. Time skip. The disguised Uzumaki blinked twice as he pulled out a very fine bottle of wine to pour in the matron's glass. Are you sure, ma'am? He said. She had fluffy brown hair. She was dressed in a black fitting dress. She did not look a day over 40 as she sat on one of the stools in front of the bar. She was the only one that knew about his fear of women. He pleaded for her not to tell anyone else. She nodded as he poured her the red wine. I'm sure, she said. You've been stressed a lot lately, and I think it would be best if you went on a break every once in a while. Once a year has to stop, my dear child, she said to him, as he was cleaning the other glasses now. I'll be fine, ma'am, he said. I don't need a break. As Naruto was thinking about his weekly salary, she released a small laugh. You will be paid during this break. That statement sold him. Okay, how long is my break? 3 days, she told him. And are you sure this place will be fine without a bar? The blooming soccer since the introduction of the bar has been, well, racking up. It was a place where both man and woman of all sorts of sexual interests could enjoy themselves before going straight towards a woman, of course. Before the bar, there were just some young boys in here. Well, not that young. They were, of course, legal age. However, they were in their early 20s. And there was also some very old men as well. But now, straight women attended the bar as well. The woman will have to admit that Kyohi was the driving boom in the bar success and the brothel as well. We'll just have to close it down until you return. Well, if you're sure, he said to her, as he placed the mug down. It's fine, she said. You can take your break. Alright, he said, with a nod. Relax, child, she said, and try to have some fun as well. Oh, and please empty the dumpster before you leave. We both know that no one else is going to do that. I'm sorry if I'm asking for too much. No, it's fine, he said, as he made his way towards the back door to do as he was told. As he speared a look at the dumpster, where the corpse in the trash bag was already drawing attention to it. Well, resident bugs, that is. As he removed his suspenders, he proceeded to climb up on one of the chairs that was there for this occasional event. As he threw it open, he covered his nose at the smell. As he proceeded to spit to the side, he had to take a deep breath away from it. He really and truly hated this part of his job. The dumpster was really big, and it took about a week for it to be filled up. It was currently full. He did a few other things than just tend to the bar within the brothel. As he tended to the electricity, he unclogged a few toilets and the bathtubs and the sinks as well. He also kicked out any rowdy clients that asked for too much from the ladies. He minded the work. Yes, it was a lot, but still, there was extra pay, so that was good. The amount of money funneling into his pocket, it was compensating for everything that he was doing, despite taking time away from his actual intelligent work, and not to mention the chance of him being discovered, but the money was more than enough to make up for it. That way he had more funds, and the chance of him finishing his work was getting closer and closer and closer. He clapped his hand together, his fingers meshed, as he went through a set of hand signs. Fire release. Incinerator. He proceeded to exhale a purple flame down into the dumpster. The fire eats away at everything inside, just leaving dust marks all over, as it eats away at everything, burning it down to nothingness. The jutsu was one of his own creation, that he adapted from the fire style, campfire technique. It did not leave any smoke, and there was no smell of burning. The campfire technique was created for said reason, for you not to get discovered while near or within enemy territory, and his technique was better. He blew the flames for a good 30 seconds before he stepped back as he coughed. The jutsu was not perfect though. Pieces of metals could be seen, and jewelry, and also a few white bones. He had to return back to his apartment. Fire release. Soft ash blanket, he said, as he blew out ash into the bin. It covered everything. Usually he would leave it until he get a bag to pack up everything, the remains that were left, but he had to return, as he proceeded to close the lid and made his way off, jumping off the chair. Moments later, the ever-familiar smell of cat entered right into his nose as he was making his way up the stairs, through the corridor, making his way towards his room. There was a buzz of television and radios, sounds of quarreling couples, crying babies, and sounds of lovemaking. As there were several people along the hallway, a dark-eyed man walked past him. A few saw the sword that was on his hip. However, they did not pay him much mind. A couple was even making out as he had to squeeze past them. They had no courtesy to move. He finally arrived as he retrieved the key from his pockets, as a door opposite to his room opened up by a young woman. Her hair was messy from sleep. Her left shoulder had tattoos going down towards her left hand. Back home early, huh? She said to him. Yep, said Naruto, his tone calm as he jiggled keys into the door. It will always stuck and take a moment before it click open. Anything happened? She actually yawned as he heard the sound of concern in her voice. He fought down the tremble as he knew that she was gazing on his back. On a brick, he said, as he tried not to stumble his words. He almost cursed as a key was not clicking in the lock. Ah, nice sword, she said. She pointed towards the combat knife that were arranged neatly on her coffee table in the living room. I got a few just like that, straight from Iron Country as well. Her room was well taken care of and clean, stacked with quality furniture, nothing old and jarring. Each room had a small living room that doubled as a kitchen, one bedroom and one bathroom as well. That's cool, he said. He knew a few ways of taking her down, confident enough that he could do so. However, there was always this crushing feeling in his chest when facing off against a lady, especially a Yakuza enforcer like the black-haired emo one behind him. Facing off against the opposite gender was a fear that crippled him. Even after 2 years of being this dangerous woman neighbor and working in a building filled with women that fawned over him on a daily basis, he thought he would get over this fear. He hated himself so damn much. Your dad isn't back yet, she asked him. Nope. Kid, it's been 2 years, I know, he said, interrupting her. He knew that she was actually worried for him, despite the amount of blood that she had on her hands. Reported to him by AI, he knew that she never harmed a child. However, he did not like to be pitied. How about I take you to the police station? I have a few friends there. They will know how to find your dad. I've been. They don't know, he said. But she was cut off as the clicking of his door could be heard. You know, you don't have to live by yourself, Kyohi, she said to him. I know, he said, as he stepped inside and closed the door behind him. AI turned on the lights as Naruto tossed his blade towards the couch. As her voice came from the outside. If you want, I can ask around for you. He did not answer though. The offer is always on the table, Kyohi, she said. As Naruto made his way to make him some ramen, as he made it himself, by using two techniques, a B rank and a D rank. Breathing out the hot mist into the cup, as he allowed it time to cool. He was dead tired. He's been working a lot lately. As he got some gloves from the jaw. He could sleep later though. The gloves could handle hot liquids. Anything hot. They could also be used to fight. But they were not done yet. When they were done, it will balance for any ninja. The problem was, there were certain adults that could use their strength to overcome child prodigies. Certain ninjas like Itachi Uchiha and Yuji Uzuki. Most adults did not really pass them with strength, as they were still children, like Naruto. What he had over adults were speed, his dexterity, and his intelligence. However, Itachi and Yuji were both 17 now, so they did not suffer from the strength difference. However, there was still some adult that could use their strength over him, despite him being a prodigy. But once he was done with the gloves, that would no longer be an issue or a problem. He flipped over the back of the gloves. There was a technical and wiring inside of it. If any normal civilian tried to pick up these gloves, they would not succeed. The fact that Naruto had easily removed them from his decks was a testament to how strong he actually is. However, in his opinion, it was not strong enough. As he started to slurp down his ramen, once he was finished, he tossed it into a bin at the corner of his room. He placed on his goggles. Activate all hologramic projectors, he said. 4 lights came out of the corner of the room. As Naruto moved the rug away, there was a panel of glass that all the lights converge on. Show me my gloves, he said. Boss, wouldn't it be better if you rested for like an hour and then resume? AI suggested, but still pulling out the hologramic image of Naruto gloves. I'll be fine, said Naruto as he just wiped his eyes. He expanded the image as he glanced over towards the real gloves on the decks, before he turned his gaze back towards the hologram, looking for any abnormalities. But sir, with all due respect, you just came back from 20 hours of work. No person his age was meant to work that long. Not even an adult was meant to work that long. The computer knew the master too well. Naruto did not like to sleep because it gave his mind time to dream. And he never had any pleasant dreams. They were horrible. Naruto changed his circuits in the gloves on the hologram. The ones on the table also changed as well. I have to make some progress. Time is of the essence. Now fire up the core with the reserve battery power. I want to see if the reserve battery power work, he said to her. Light came from the gloves on the decks. It was a harsh purple color as Naruto nodded. AI kept the reservation of Naruto, disregarding his health to itself, but it did lock all the doors and windows and kept up its surveillance. Keep it on and test out the... He thought for the word that he was looking for. The pointer finger of the right glove. The hologramic projection started to light up with light purple light as power flew from the bottom and towards the pointer finger. Easy, easy, he said, as AI did as it was told. A few green lights started to pop up as Naruto plucked them out to study the problematic areas and to fix them. His mother had never allowed him to keep his allowance. She was always saying that he could already have everything that he wanted. That was a major stunt in his growth and his creation. Whenever Kushina went out for a mission, he would sneak out and made his way to the scrapyard. That is when the guards were too lazy to watch out for him. He started to doing that when he was 6 years old. He could not run away then because he could not handle life outside the mansion. He was not ready for anything just yet. All he could do was get what he could, what was useful, and then run. Running back, carrying what his little arms could carry. It had took him 5 months. His mother had noticed signs like his fingers being a little bit burnt for him to make a fully completed projector, and now it was much larger. Any problems that he found on the projection, it would directly relate towards the gloves that he was working on in real time. Naruto was not good at sealing. His mother refused to teach him. She was afraid that he would use it to hide things away from her, and she sealed away every single book that talk about the subject. He could not go to the library without her, and if he tried to, the authorities would alert her, and he would be in grave trouble. So that stunted his growth greatly growing up, and she had proceeded to seal away a lot of his stuff, knowing that he could not get them out. So on the day that he wanted to flee, he had to spend time upon time carefully gathering what he could, like the projector that he hid away. He picked some money out of his main guard pockets as he used it to buy the green hair dye. The woman did not question why a 9-year-old wanted to buy that, because he threw a lot of money at her. For 8 months he had nowhere to go when he first left the mansion, but he preferred to go through trash than go back home to his mother. And then finally a solution came. The blooming soccer. His first salary was enough to rent a room, but he had to use a genjutsu to pose as an adult when going to the building manager. The man was a civilian, so he did not notice or did he sense anything. A week of going around as an adult with green hair and red eyes. A few weeks after that, he made the man disappear, returning back to his child self. However, his neighbor, she was a notorious member of the Jade Wolf Yakuza. She was curious, and why she cared that he was living alone, it was beyond him. She was always trying to reach out, always trying to help. However, his fear was always there, but not only that, she was too forward in helping him, and he did not trust her. He made himself some coffee as he rubbed his eyes several times now. He was exhausted, but he still refused to sleep just yet. He had been diverting majority of his salary to his extra projects and rent. He did not have a stove, but he used the fire jutsu to heat up everything that he was making. Things were stressful right now, but he consoled himself with the thought that soon he would be able to leave the village and finally get away. He wanted to put some very, very far distance between him and the person that he called a mother. He wanted to leave the village, but he had to finish his gloves. As he increased the capacity for raw strength, he could not take any chances. He had to be prepared for everything that life has to offer, every single thing. And then he would never, ever come back. But guys, if you end subscribe right here. If you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the what ifs over on the other channels. Yes, indeed, a fourth of them link will be down in the description. Don't forget to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado or wasting any more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now, guys.